Yvette exposed. Brave MP chokes Yvette Cooper with mind-boggling question in Parliament showdown. In a fiery exchange that left the Commons stunned, Conservative MP Esther McVey took Labour's Yvette Cooper to task with a razor-sharp question that exposed what many see as a gaping hole in the government's immigration policy. During a tense session in Parliament, McVey stood and asked a direct, loaded question. Without a third country like Rwanda, can the Home Secretary tell the House where illegal immigrants, whose country of origin cannot be established because they've destroyed their documentation, will be deported to? Or is it the case that they cannot be deported, and so anyone who exploits that loophole can stay here with impunity? The silence that followed was deafening. Even seasoned political observers noted the impact. It wasn't just the content of the question, it was the way McVey laid it down with clarity, control, and cold logic. The Labour benches shifted uneasily as the spotlight turned squarely on the government's fallback plan, or lack thereof, should the controversial Rwanda scheme collapse entirely. Yvette Cooper, the current Home Secretary, responded with a mix of prepared statistics and evasive rhetoric. Her voice wavered slightly as she said, "Well, our government has increased returns since the election. 24,000 returns since the election. That includes a more than 20% increase in failed asylum cases and includes action that we are taking to deal with people who claim to have lost their papers and to ensure that we can deliver those returns." Rather than answering the core of McVey's question, what happens when a migrant's country of origin cannot be verified, Cooper chose to highlight broader statistics and referenced vague cooperation with the EU. "We will continue to support other policies, including working with the EU on issues around returns hubs," she added. Let me just say to her, they had 2 years to run their Rwanda scheme. They spent £700 million and deported for volunteers. That was a waste of money, a failure for the taxpayer, and a failed delivery, too. But for many watching, Cooper's reply did little to diminish the force of McVey's question. The core issue remained unanswered. Without a viable third country for deportation, is the UK now functionally powerless to remove undocumented migrants who withhold or destroy evidence of their origin? Political commentators were quick to seize on the moment. One analyst on Talk TV remarked, "That was one of the most uncomfortable moments for Yvette Cooper in recent memory." McVey didn't just put her on the back foot, she showed how vulnerable the government's asylum policy is when you strip away the Rwanda headlines. Social media exploded shortly after, with clips of the exchange racking up thousands of views within minutes. Supporters of stricter immigration controls praised McVey for finally asking the question nobody else dared to, while critics of the Rwanda plan pointed out that Cooper had a chance to present a better alternative, and didn't. Meanwhile, public frustration over immigration policy continues to mount. The government has made bold promises about border control, yet real-world enforcement appears increasingly complicated. Without credible agreements with safe third countries, enforcement becomes not just difficult, but arguably impossible in certain cases. The Prime Minister's office issued no immediate statement in response to the exchange, though Downing Street has remained committed in recent weeks to defending the principle of the Rwanda scheme despite ongoing legal and logistical hurdles. Critics argue that while deportation to Rwanda remains controversial, removing it from the toolkit entirely leaves the UK exposed to precisely the loophole McVey highlighted. At the heart of it all is a sobering reality: individuals who destroy their documents can effectively outmaneuver the system, exploiting a legal grey area that is, at present, dangerously underaddressed.